Cade Horton could be the answer the Cubs have been looking for as far as the next ace in the rotation. Now, I think there's a long way to go before we anoint him the ace, but I will tell you this. He's good, and he has the potential to be excellent in the near future. We're going to talk about why he's the best pitching prospect the Cubs have had since Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood. How about Andrew Kittredge? What a bounce back for him. It was immaculate. And Javier Assad on the verge of returning to the Cubs. All that and more right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. All those things that you guys know how to do and that confuse our friends from St. Louis. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball channel, and it is great to see you guys today. Thank you for watching the show. Lifelong Cubs fan. I say this a lot, and I've been in the organization now for 20 years, somewhere in there. But I love it. I love the Cubs. Love talking to you guys about the Cubs. Love following the Cubs, and love talking baseball. And I appreciate all the comments. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers on the channel, and you guys are making it happen. So love you. Thank you for being here, and let's talk some baseball. I am not, and I know some of you guys want to, you're going to bring up some misses, and I've had some misses. I think everybody has, but had a lot of hits, and that's when I tell you somebody can play, and I really believe in him. And Cade Horton is one of those guys that I've said from the beginning. Go back and watch the show that I did when he broke into the big leagues. Watch the shows before that when I said I think he is the biggest pitching prospect the Cubs have had since Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood. He's different, but he's the same. He's elite. And he's starting to figure it out on the major league level. Now, let me borrow this from the MLB app. How cool is this graphic, by the way? Give those guys a ton of credit for this thing. But this is his pitching performance in a graphic from his outing against the Reds. 24 four-seamers. Look at that right there. The sinkers. I mean, just everything that the guy throws and its effectiveness. The changeup, which he's worked really hard on improving. The curveball, of course, the slider. But this guy is so good. Four-seamer, sinker, changeup, sweeper, and curveball. That's the arsenal. And he's mixing his pitches up. The better he gets with the changeup, I think the better that he has the potential to be as a pitcher. But it's the four-seam fastball and the slider that everything else builds off of. The guy's now had 23 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings. This is a pretty impressive streak. And it goes back to July the 9th. Gave up a run against the Twins in the fourth inning. His earned run average is down to 318 from 480. And what I've said to you guys, and I'm going to stand by this because I'm pretty sure if he stays healthy, he's going to be a top of the rotation guy. He comes in with a pedigree that was better than Justin Steele, better than Andrew Kashner, better than Chris Archer. I mean, you're talking about guys that were developed in the Cubs organization and then got to the major leagues. And those are all great pitchers in their own right, But he's Pryor and Wood stuff. This isn't Ben Brown where he's struggled to be consistent his entire career. The only thing that Horton has ever struggled with is staying healthy. He's a great athlete. And I heard JD say something on the broadcast. He said he reminds him of a linebacker, like he's going to run off the mound and tackle you. I kept telling you guys, the mentality that he has that makes him different is that he's mean and he pitches mean. And when he's comfortable and as he gets more comfortable in the major leagues, he's got a chip on his shoulder. And when this all comes together, I think he's going to be really good. I feel like right now they protect him a little bit because they pull him out of the game so early. And one of the reasons why is that they feel like he's thrown more pitches this year than he did last year. And we need him. We do need him. And maybe building confidence is part of this, right? The exposure of building confidence. Hey, here's a couple times around. You know what? We're going to get the bullpen in early. You do your thing. Eventually, they're going to need him to pitch more than 5.5, 6 innings, right? But when he goes out there, you see the building blocks of an ace. And the Cubs haven't had a lot of these. They haven't drafted and developed many starting pitchers. And then of those guys, how many of them are going to be aces? Look, this guy stays healthy. He's going to be an ace. And what I'm looking at on this year, and I think that it is smart, and I'm going to take up for him now, to limit his pitches for right now. Because if the Cubs make a playoff run, he could be the most important pitcher that they have. Right, I know. You probably are saying, well, no, I would say it's going to be Shota and then Boyd and then him. And that could be it. But think about when they won the World Series. Who was the most important pitcher they had that year? It wasn't Arrieta. I mean, it was in the regular season, but in the postseason, and it wasn't Lester. It turned out to be Hendricks. Hendricks was the guy that pitched all the big games, right? Now, everybody contributed, but he pitched Game 6 to get to the World Series, and he pitched Game 7 of the World Series, right? So it took those outings for him for the Cubs to win the championship. I think Horton could be even more important because this rotation isn't very deep. And Soroka, they're saying, maybe less than 10 days on the IL for him. Who knows what he's going to be? I'm not very confident that he's going to come back healthy. The guy's had a history of health issues, a lot of it going back to his Achilles heel injury. But look, or his Achilles injury. At the end of the day, Horton is going to be the future of the Cubs rotation. And it's really fun to watch. And I don't even think that the Cubs have anybody even close to him in the organization right now. And we still haven't seen a lot of Jackson Wiggins. So who knows what the situation is there. I thought they were slowing him down in case they were going to trade him. Who knows. But if this guy continues on the path that he's going right now, Cade Horton is going to be an opening day starter, and he's going to be the ace of the staff. I think he's got higher upside than anybody else there, including Boyd and Shota. So I'm excited about him, and I think that he's earned the praise that he's getting. With that said, there's a long way to go. And I think that he's still not quite comfortable yet on the mound. I still feel like he's kind of skating around stuff. He's being aggressive, but I still feel like it's just not there yet. And to think that he's gone 23 and 2/3 innings without giving up a run, and I'm telling you that there's still more growth to happen, you ought to be excited about that. Talking about excited, how about the bounce back from Andrew Kittredge? I'm not really sure what to expect anymore, right? Comes out, gives up 4 runs in a third of an inning. They throw him back out there again, and the guy gets 3 strikeouts on 9 pitches, an immaculate inning. Pretty impressive. The Cubs need this guy to pan out. And his track record tells us that, he's above average reliever at best. I'm glad that he had that inning because you really worry about this bullpen. And they went out and got Kittredge to try to help the bullpen. And his performance a couple days ago cost the Cubs the game. It was that bad. But you know what? At least we got a bright side after he got booed right off the field. And he comes back and he does it. You couldn't do it any better. So that's good news too. More good news is that Javier Assad is closing in on a return. 58 pitches in Iowa. Our friend Tommy Birch threw this up there. 4 in the third innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. How much longer, how much more does he need to do before we're going to see him? And I'm curious how this is going to go. Because if he comes up, what's the move going to be made to keep him up? Or is it going to be one of those situations where, and this happens a lot, where these guys get back, they don't like something that they see, and they end up designating for assignment. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I don't know what to think about Javier Assad, other than in the past, he's been the Swiss Army knife of this rotation or of the bullpen or of the staff, whatever you want to say. And I trust him to pitch and try to get us outs. And I think we need him desperately right now, even if that means him being in the starting rotation over, say, Ben Brown, with Soroka being injured and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens. But it was good news to have Javy kind of coming back around and helping the Cubs out. And we'll see, like I said before, how long it's going to take him to return. Now, the Cubs will take on St. Louis, going to St. Louis to play the Cardinals on Friday. They're off today, and we will talk about that series a lot more on Friday. But some big games coming up for the Cubs, right? Boyd will pitch on Friday, 11-4 with a 2.34 ERA. He ought to be 12-4 if the bullpen wouldn't have blown it. And 12-4 puts you in the Cy Young conversation. So the bullpen's got to help this guy out because, he could get, I don't know how close he could get to 20 wins, but it's not unrealistic the way he's pitched if these guys would just close games out, if these guys would just get outs when they're on the mound. So a much needed day off, and then back in action against St. Louis coming up on Friday. Hey guys, thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, get in the comments section. If something breaks, we'll jump on and talk about it and go.